Good morning, guys, and welcome back to the sawmill here. I hope everyone's doing well out there. We've got a beautiful morning here in Oregon. It's actually been beautiful all week. Yesterday it was 76 degrees. Today is crystal clear, no wind. I think it's going to be another awesome day. I think a combination of that nice weather and people being stuck at home has got them working around their houses and yards, and my phone has been ringing off the hook from people wanting goodies from my sawmill. So today I've picked up some cedar lattice panels. I'm going to rip them down into 1-foot strips. I'm going to harvest a cedar tree out of my wood lot, and I'm going to mill it up on the mill into boards that will frame these lattice panels, and then these panels will sit atop a fence for a client. So first things first, let's go find a tree. I'm going to take this cedar here. As you can see, there are several trees packed in a very tight area, so I'm going to thin this out a little bit, give the remaining trees a better chance at some sunlight, and then I'm going to cut it into 8.5-foot lengths, haul it up to the mill, and make some really nice lumber. Well, I just made my face cut and made the discovery you often find in these second growth cedars. It is hollow. So I'm gonna take it down and hope that there's some good lumber in there. Bummer. Oh man, it does not look good. Dang it. Well, I'm glad I took this tree down without it coming down on its own, but I'm gonna cut a little over 6 feet out of this. I can make fence boards out of the outer rings of this. I've got a guy who wants, I think, about 300 fence boards, so I'll go up 6 feet. Hopefully we're out of the rot and just go from there. Well, 6 feet up. Yeah, there's soft spots here. A lot of decent wood still here, but about the center 8 inches is still punky, and you've got some spots up out in this side. I think I'm going to take an 8.5 foot section out of this one because there's a lot of lumber right here. I'll make fence boards out of the rest the best I can. So this was the second log up from the stump. 21 inches at this end, 28 at the other. There's some heart rot at the other end. Seemed to be out of it here. So I'm gonna set the saw as deep as I can on the other end and try and harvest as much of the solid wood out of it and kind of box out the heart. It seems to end right about here, but it's, man, probably would have been better off to cut the log here. Oh well, you don't know what you got until you open it up. Looks like we got a little sawdust jam. Oh man. Out of gas. All right, all those slabs are 1 3/4 thick. I'm going to set them back on the mill on their edge and cut 2-inch thick passes, which will make 1 3/4 by 2-inch boards. And then I will cut channels in them on my table saw for the lattice to fit into. Lots of metal in that one. Now, I cut a channel on a couple of these with my router, but it's super time consuming and you have to make 2 passes. It's making a huge mess, so I'm gonna set up my table saw. I don't have a dado blade, so I'm gonna make a couple passes with the table saw and see if that goes faster and cleaner. Well, I've got 19 of the 22 panels pre-assembled so far. You might have noticed I haven't screwed the tops down on any of those. That's because I'm going to get them all fitted together and then I'm going to break them down and stain them, and I want to make sure I get stain inside the channel that the lattice sits in so there aren't any bare spots. I've utilized every bit of wood I could out of that first log that I milled. Due to the rot, the rest of it looks something like this, which I still have some good lumber in some of these boards that I'll salvage. I'll cut out and salvage, but I need enough long boards for 3 more panels, so I'm going to get 1 more log up on the mill and mill out what I need and finish assembling so that I can bust them all down and start staining. Now, on top of the lumber that I want to get out of these logs, I also have another purpose. If you watched my series on the covered fire pit that I built for a client, I was really happy with how it came out. I caught a lot of grief for not showing a fire going in the pit, but you know, it wasn't mine. I couldn't tell the owner that we had to start a fire in his brand new fire pit. So he did send me some pictures. I think they came out awesome. I was really worried about whether or not the hood was going to function properly, and he said it works great. So I want to build one at my house, and that's what I'm going to get. What's left out of these logs I'm going to use to start building a timber frame-esque post and beam, whatever you want to call it. Nathan Elliott, I know you're watching. I want to get started on one at my own house. That'll be coming up this summer. But anyways, let's get this log on the mill and get the rest of the lumber that I need. Well, after trying several different methods to cut the channel in these pieces, I decided that the easiest way I had access to was a 3/4 inch bit in this hand planer router, and I make 3 passes, 2 or 3 passes, and that's the most efficient way I have without having a full-size table saw with a dado blade. Now this last one's going to be a little trickier than the rest because the panel that needs to be built is longer than the 8 feet that we have in this pre-made cedar lattice. So I've cut a section out, and basically I'm going to have to disassemble the pieces that are too short and disassemble this so that they fit together and give me enough length to cut off to fit the final length in here. I'm marking the ones I need to remove. Let's start with that.
Oh.
There's no mail today, son. Okay.
How do you make that?
How do I make it?
Yeah.
Very carefully.
Oh. Wait, what did you do that for?
Well, because I've got to graft these two together. Hey, son, I'm filming.
I did not know that. Really good. But the inside is really good.
What do you think, Chase?
It's awesome.
It's awesome?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Adorable.
Yeah.
Yay, you're almost done and you could take out my class.
Yeah.
Husky. Kind of looks like a...
Now, I know y'all haven't sat through this whole video to not watch me stain one of these things and show you what the finished product's going to look like. So I'm going to put a panel up, stain it real quick, and give you an idea what it's going to look like all stained up. Well, I got one down, only 21 to go. As you can see, this is going to be super time consuming and meticulous work. I'll spare you all the monotony of it, but I appreciate you guys watching, of course, and I hope you all staying safe, and we will see you soon. I got a lot coming up. Thanks for watching.